So all mediums are psychics, right? But not all psychics are mediums. And I kind of want to explain the difference to you guys and kind of go into, as a medium, how I read. So the thing about mediums versus psychics is typically what you see with like tarot readers, people that use tools. And typically with a tarot reader, they're psychic. They know when to pick the cards and they can kind of, pick them for you and use the tools. But they're not necessarily having a dialogue with the guides. Some do, who are more mediumship inclined, but not always. So you could be a perfectly good, and there's perfectly talented tarot readers out there who get great information because they know what cards to pick. That is a psychic. A medium, on the other hand, doesn't necessarily need the tools. They speak directly to your guides and past loved ones. So when you go to an actual medium like myself, what you're getting is I don't use any tools necessarily. I just literally I call you with your name and number, and I actually like to start being like, don't tell me anything about you, don't ask anything about you, because I don't need that. I don't need tools. I don't need you to tell me anything about yourself. Let me just connect and see what comes through. And I specifically talk to spirit guides and past loved ones. So I get things that are like tangible, like I get names. I've my whole career, I've gotten way better at it in the last 6 years doing this full time. But I get names, I get info. I say very specific things because I can actually hear your guides. I get words, I get full sentences, which, some mediums on here claim you don't get full sentences. I sure do. And I get visually I can see guides, I can see past loved ones. So I'll be like, the short woman with the curly hair, it's blonde, M name, and she'll be like, that's my Grandma Mary, and that sort of thing. So that's kind of how I read in general. I'm very auditory. I'm clairaudient in the sense that I'm clairaudient a little teeny bit, where I hear stuff with my actual ears. I'm very clairvoyant, so I mostly hear stuff in my head, and I visualize in my head. The only thing I see with my physical eyes, for the most part, is auras. I've seen them since I was a kid, but I don't really see spirits too often, but I'll see them in my head and I'll sense them. So if you're ever kind of curious about the difference, and I'm not knocking tarot readers, there's very many talented ones, but they're psychic usually and not mediums.